$35 billion worth of gold in today's money was pulled out of these hills. We're back in gold country in Sonora, California, a town founded in 1848, 1849, 1850, before, on, and at the peak of the original California gold rush. It later became the seat of Tuolumne County. That's the county out of which, like I said, $35 billion worth of gold was pulled. And as the county seat, the county capital, if you will, this became the center of the region's gold mining, of the region's population, and so it survived up to the present day. Oh, look at this, and as you can see, it's well preserved. Sonora, California, like many mining towns, had a series of fires that burned down all the original wooden buildings, but they happened so early in Sonora that many of the buildings still standing in the town, especially here on Washington Street, the main drag, do date from the gold rush period, like the City Hotel here, built in 1852, constructed of adobe, slate, and brick. It was a little more fireproof than some of the other early buildings here, and still standing. Same is true with a lot of the miners' houses and buildings scattered throughout the hills. So not only did this town never die, it never really became a ghost town, but because of its preservation and its proximity to other gold country locations, it's become kind of a hub for people seeking out gold rush history. Like, look at this building we're standing in front of right now, which is now the Thirsty Prospector, a little bookstore. They sell ice cream. They've got some underground rooms down here. This is the REM building, or the Ream building, constructed of brick, and as it says, stunning natural rock. From the 1850s to the 1870s, they actually bought and sold gold dust from this very location. It looks like they're closed today, but Mark Twain is still going strong inside. My wife Allie and I were here about a year ago, and we're here once again for the same reason. It's a nice stopover point on our way north of Sacramento, where Allie's from, because any day now, actually in just about 48 hours from the time I'm standing here, it's going to be Allie's birthday. And all she wants for her birthday is to go and hang out with her grandma. So in the meantime, we're let loose back on the main streets of Sonora, California. And of course, Allie has already disappeared 5 minutes into our walk today into an antique store. I try to check every antique store I possibly can to see if I can find any more bedpans for my friend Wet Tyler. Unfortunately, so far no bedpans today. Better luck next time, Tyler. See, I need one of these in my life. A hot cheese nacho machine. Oh my gosh. Dude, I need one of these. We haven't had hot water for like 2 weeks. They're working on the boiler. It's like the sitz bath of a medieval knight. Okay, so Monty, the guy running the antique store across the street, just told us that back in the day, the infamous Stagecoach robber, Black Bart, had a restaurant here in the downstairs of these 3 buildings you can see here, with the center building being Clint's Trophy Mart and Antiques and Gifts and Clothing. That the buildings used to be connected, and there's about 10 rooms upstairs. Thinks he was laundering money from his holdups by pretending to be a restaurateur here. I don't know if that's local folklore or a historical fact, but that sure is interesting. History everywhere. I wonder what Black Bart would think if he could come 200 years into the future and see them selling Labubus and Pokemon across the street. I thought Labubus would be done by now, but they're still far more profitable than even Stagecoach robbery. Oh yeah, nothing I love more than walking around a beautiful historic town of a beautiful morning. And of course we did roam all around downtown Sonora last year, but there were a couple of things that we missed, specifically just up the road and around the corner up here, just 3 blocks down from the Candy Vault that we visited last time, which by the way is the place that had the Willy Wonka vault in the back of it. It's literally the Candy Vault, is the Tuolumne County Museum. And if there's one thing I love just as much as walking around historic downtowns, it's finding local museums. Mostly because you just never know what you're gonna find. By the way, I love old mining towns like this, because they're always built on crazy hills and in gullies. If the gold was there, you built the town there, and that's that. Okay, I believe this is what we're looking for. Somebody told me that it's actually built into the old jail. This will make 2 old jails in a row. If you count us going to jail yesterday in Kingsburg, cross your fingers that they're open. You never know with local history museums, especially in April. It's not exactly the height of tourist season. Oh, and it looks like there is a sign out on the porch. Open. Yes. Ooh, this is always a good sign as well. See what I did there? Well, look at this. Before we even go in, confirmed. The Tuolumne County Jail from 1857 until 1960. Pretty good looking jail, man. I mean, beautiful aesthetics. Probably still not that fun to be an inmate. Oh, wow. Look at the size. of this museum. Apparently this portion of it, this front portion of the building, was the sheriff's personal house and quarters. He lived in the front, prisoners in the back. And look at this, this is what it looked like before 9/11. Eventually it burned down. It had to be reconstructed a few times and then reopened as a museum. Obviously very faithfully here, but look at this. There are so many artifacts just wedged into this front room, including a bear and a little sample of bear fur. Ooh, bears are not very soft. Look at that, old mining cradles, gold pans. I love this alley. I love these pictures of various breakout attempts in the jail. These guys tried to dig out, but there was a woven mesh reinforcing wall that stopped them. Technology, so much gold rush history, logging history, highway history, Yosemite history, even old skis and snowshoes and saddles. There's some cowboy history up here, ranching history. Kind of amazing. A lot of logging here. Look at this. Look at the size of that saw right there. Oh, and then there's stuff like this. This is what I mean about local museums. I love local pieces like this. Look at this dollhouse. That thing is massive. I think that dollhouse might be bigger than alley. And then look at this. You got a Wells Fargo desk right here. The whole bunch of information about Wells Fargo detectives and different express offices. There's some old legit ledgers in here you can pull out and take a look at. I know it's kind of hard to see with the glare. If I could stand in front of it, maybe you can see there are some scales in here to measure the weight of gold dust. They got some bigger scales in this case right here. Those are for the nuggets, I guess. And right next to the children's corner, you got a bunch of information on Columbia, which is another ghost town nearby that's become a state historic park. We went there last year. We'll probably end up there today. And look at that. This shows you how important Wells Fargo is to the area. There's Henry Wells on the left and William G. Fargo on the right. Oh, and speaking of Black Bart, look at that. There's Black Bart himself right above a very large strongbox. Look at this. Apparently Glenn Bell, the founder of Taco Bell, once purchased a bunch of land up here to open up a theme park. And he did, in fact, open it up in 1978. They were going to build a Mexican village and a Chinese area. It never happened. And weirdly, they don't name the theme park right here. But you can see some footage of the train operating. This is very strange. I never knew this. I guess I got to read Taco Titan, the Glenn Bell story. This is very strange right here because there's another section of information about the West Side and Cherry Valley Railway and the West Side and Cherry Valley theme park. Is it the same thing? It must be, right? I'm so confused, but I'm learning. I have a totally new field for research now. A Taco Bell theme park? That blows my mind. So many artifacts lining the walls in here. So many local pieces. Look at this. Here's the clock hands from the old courthouse clock just up the road. Somebody's old cane preserved in this cryogenic tube right here. Look at that. Sonora Soda Works. Some soda from the area. Some old trunks. Oh, I love seeing this. Local bottles from back in the day. This is not all. It's not all just local pieces, including these local uniforms from some of our brave men and women who went off to the world wars. Back here behind some of the gold miner displays, there are even more rooms and more exhibits. Exhibits on justice, the law, and the world rushed in. Ooh, and you notice we are passing the first set of jail doors. So we are now out of the sheriff's quarters and into the jail proper. Look at this flap right here. They would pass stuff in to the prisoners through. That's amazing. It's only been 24 hours and I'm already going to jail again. Dude, the fact that they may have used this all the way up until the 1960s is mind-blowing. Quite a healthy number of cells in here. There's at least, what, 5 in this particular wing right here. I don't know if it was a men and women's wing or how they would have segregated the prisoners by gender, but look at this. Look at this old cell in here, wooden lined. You got a tiny little window with one bar in the center of it, as if you could fit out of that little slot. And each one of these cells has got a different story or a different focus on local history. Like, look at this cell here in the back is all local Chinese artifacts. Oh, this is cool. Of course, there were a lot of Chinese miners here during the gold rush. Then, of course, they passed laws against the Chinese being able to do any of the mining, so they were forced to do sort of other jobs. They'd open laundries, opium dens, obviously, and all kinds of other businesses in the gold rush. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's a little opium pipe right there. Sonora had a big Chinatown, but apparently it all boiled down to that one guy right there, Happy Hen Chow. He was the last of Chinatown's Chinese residents. He was living here from the 1870s all the way up till 1948. So within living memory for some of the older folks alive today, one of the original Chinatown residents was here. Just goes to show you this period of time is not as far back as we often think of it being. Got information about the overland trail, the covered wagons that people had to ride in to get here to California during the gold rush, and of course some more modern history. Oh, look at this cool model railroad display right here. There's a couple of little railroad dioramas. This is a very famous trestle bridge I've never actually seen in person myself with my own eyes. I need to make that a priority next time. Took quite a lot of engineering to bring the railroad through the hills and valleys of the California gold country. There's very little flat space up here. Oh no, Allie found the movie cell. Everything from old black and white movies all the way up to Back to the Future Part 3 were filmed in this part of the country. And apparently they will play various films filmed up here, shot up here, on this screen. You can watch a little program about them. Look at that. Here's an old one right here. Robin Hood of El Dorado. Another one from 1936 called Frank Lloyd's Wells Fargo. And of course there's Gary Cooper's High Noon. I don't see a lot of Back to the Future Part 3 information in here. What a rip-off. Oh, they do have something about High Noon though. That's good. Oh, and something about High Noon over here. Oh, and then look, Allie, something about High Noon. They really enjoy high noon. It's their favorite time of day. It's cool, there's a whole timeline of Tuolumne County up here on the wall. I doubt it was this well decorated when the prisoners were here. I really like this though, look at these bars up here. You see this locking mechanism and unlocking mechanism for the door, so they close the cell doors, and then this giant clamp would come down chonk on the door itself, keeping it secure during the night or whenever the prisoners were locked up. And not only that, they had this big old bolt here on the door itself. You had to unlock with a massive iron key. And then look at that little vent hole up there, little transom above each cell for ventilation. You know what I noticed? Some of these cells have no light, just this little slit in the wall. I wonder if they were allowed candles or anything at nighttime. Look at this, you got 3 condemned men right here. Robert Poher, James Lyons, and Edward McCauley. They took this picture right before their execution. These guys were hung as a group out here, and that led to them changing state laws about hanging. Describing the hanging here in this information, saying that it was attended by an unruly drunken crowd of more than 10,000 people. I love this line though. The noon death parade began at the jail. That was the big local entertainment back then. A hanging! Some other artifacts right here related to other stories of law and order. Very interesting place. The old Tuolumne County Jail. And whoa!
Keep your voice down. Can a man get no sleep in his own cell?
I'm sorry, sir.
The pretty girl's okay, but you got to get out of here.
I just wanted to peek in and admire your pee bucket, sir.
Oh yeah, I do have the best pee bucket on the block, that's for sure.
Okay, now I feel really bad because I pushed this button right here, which turned on the light and started telling the story of the real-life person this mannequin is meant to represent. It's a fella named Tom Horn, born in Ireland, came here to do some mining, got locked up in the jail for being drunk, I believe. And apparently they were allowed to have candles and stuff because he lit his mattress on fire and burned to the death in there. And that's they couldn't get the door open, and that's how the jail burned down. And poor Tom Horn never made it out. And so now, not only do I feel bad, I feel like Tom's ghost might be angry at me. Now I've got to beware of hitchhiking ghosts. You see, kids, this is why you got to read the sign and push the button before you decide to pop off with the jokes.
I ain't gonna forget this, boy. You're dead to me.
I don't love my behavior here today. It's weird that the last cell on the block over here, which, by the way, has an old stove, would have kept the cell block warm. I feel bad for the guys that would be in the very back. The last cell up here is the sheriff display. And so this is where they have some of the sheriff's office items. They got his little writing desk down here, some of the reward notices, and some receipts for some shackles, manacles, handcuffs that they bought. Some of them weapons that they had on the wall. Nice clock over there. Wonder if it's a regulator. Did the sheriff conduct his business out of a jail cell? This looks like Al Capone's cell in here. You got furniture, you got a nice phone. No, I think this stuff would have been in the front. It's kind of cool though, man. I love seeing all this stuff Very cool museum, so much more to learn. Let's spend a couple of days up here. It gets pricey though, especially during the summer. Mostly because all of this is very close to Yosemite, one of the most popular national parks, and maybe the most beautiful national park in the United States. Pretty darn cool, man. 2 wings right here, right? So this is where we entered. You see that one wing right there that had the tragic tale of Tom Horn, and I accidentally was a little light with, and then this one over here, I had a lot more of the indigenous history here, a lot of Native American history, history of families and pioneer women. That's an outfit right there, I like that. Some old weapons that I hadn't peeked my head into here actually, I just realized, look at that. Got your old gunsmith display, got a machine for boring out rifles, a lot of old powder and shot and old ammunition, old guns. Look at this bolt action pistol. So 22 caliber bolt action pistol. That does not seem very handy, yeah. Oh, and a much bigger window. So whatever prisoner got this cell, man, he was the lucky prisoner. He had a lot of light in here. This was the reader's cell. Anyway, yeah, a lot of history crammed into this building. And you know how much they charge us to come in here? Absolutely nothing. Oh, check this out. One of the cells even has a research room in it. One of the reading cells with the big light here. And look at this. They got all kinds of county registers and old genealogical records in here. Wow. Information about the Quakers. That's where part of my family came from. I don't see anything about Glen Bell's theme park. So I'll have to do some research on that when I get home. Uh-oh. I can't do any research in here right now anyways. Authorized use only. Don't tell anyone I was in there. I don't think I was authorized. I still feel bad about Tom Horn over there. That's not the first time that's happened to me. Look, kids, a fun mannequin. Let's have fun with it. And then you're like, oh no, this story is sad. I think I'm just gonna stay over here in the kids' corner for a while until I learn my lesson. That's Africa. All right, they got some stuff for sale up here in the gift shop. I can already see Mark Twain on one of the books. Buy something to help support the museum. Oh no, it's playing again. Literally, if you push that button, the first thing it says is, "Welcome to cell number whatever, where a terrible tragedy took place. A man lit his thing on fire and burned to death." I had to come back and apologize really quick privately. Oh, look at this. I didn't notice this earlier. Look at this. It's a little jail graffiti preserved on the, a little bit of plaster there on the old walls. It's crazy that the interior walls and the jail cells themselves did survive some of the fires. So easy to restore. Man, I feel bad. I feel bad. I gotta get out of here. Shame. One thing I noticed right when I stepped outside, look at this over to the side. There's a little brick wall over here. That was the yard where the men used to be able to exercise. It's no longer open to the public, but they even had a little yard. They had a little yard time here, even back in the 18-diggities. Also, there's a little marker, a little monument for Jedediah Smith and his mountain men who apparently passed this way. It says right there, Jedediah Strong Smith and his mountain men, the first recorded crossing of the Sierra Nevada by white men. Ooh, and I love these. Look at the little gate on the way into the museum. Just these old cast iron gate posts, and look at that. All that little Victorian leftovers scattered throughout mining towns like this just fascinate me. I was gonna go get some candy from the candy store next, but now I don't deserve any candy. Oh, by the way, way up the street, past the red church, earlier we found the coolest little stores, the Panagia bookstore, a bunch of retro VHS in here, a lot of cool used books, retro t-shirts. I'm just vibing out on the vintage VHS, some drinks. I love all the little mom and pop businesses, bunch of Eastern Orthodox icons and books. Ooh, and they've got dirty sodas up here, which I thought only existed in Utah. Dude, we got the 16 candles. This is so freaking good. The best drink in Sonora, forget the coffee. 16 candles, and it's got free gummy worms on it. What I like about small towns, you gotta poke your head into every door. And it's cool because the owners of the shop, we have like a lot of mutual friends from way back in the day. So weird. Including some mutual friends with our departed friend, Adam the Woo. Truly is a small world. Hey, look at that thing! I will say this for the record, Tuolumne County and Sonora in particular are very beautiful. Lots and lots of history, lots of very cool shops, but people up here can be very mean. Be careful walking around here. Last night when we were pulling in, some guy in Jamestown threw a huge rock in our car and dented it for no reason. This morning, a man yelled at me because I was 1 foot out of the crosswalk on the street. And every time someone sees us with a camera here, it feels like they opened their window and they They yell swears. Some small towns are the friendliest places you've ever been. Hey, look at this, it's Yo Good Yogurt! Other small towns, you walk around for a little while and you're like, this ain't Mayberry. Must be some of that leftover grit from the early miners in this area. At least the coffee is very good. All right, well, if you want to see more of beautiful downtown Sonora, California, I'll refer you back to our video from last year, May of last year. But for now, we're gonna walk around a little bit more, see some friends, and meet you guys at our next Gold Country destination. Man, things sure do get busy in downtown Sonora. Watch out for those logging trucks. Luckily, our next destination is only about 3 miles away. Another little slice of gold rush history. Wow, look at those California wild poppies bloom. All right, we made it to our next destination, Columbia, California, the gem of the southern mines. Founded after gold was discovered here on March 27th, 1850. And then for about the next 10 years, they pulled tons, literally, of gold out of here. It never really became a ghost town, so it was never really fully destroyed or abandoned. But eventually, the historic core of Columbia became a state historic park. And now it is one of the best preserved little slices of life in the gold rush. I absolutely love coming up here any chance that I get, especially down here to the end of the street to the Wells Fargo and Company Express office where the Columbia stage line still operates, and you can go for a real old authentic ride on a stagecoach. Okay, this is Chance and Colby right here. They are huge horses. I already forgot what you said. They're not Clydesdales, they're what?
Percherons.
Percherons. Those are some big boys. Are they both boys? Those are the biggest boys I ever did see. She says Colby weighs more than a ton, and I believe her. Look at those two. That stagecoach is bigger than I remember it.
It is. It's a new one.
Do you have a new one? Yeah. A new old stagecoach?
Old stagecoach. We just had this one built last year. It was built in Ohio.
So we just missed it last time.
Yeah.
Look at the shine.
The Amish. The body is oak. The wheels are hickory and ash.
The Amish built stagecoaches? That is so cool. Okay, so we wanted to buy tickets and ride on the stagecoach, but they're not letting us buy tickets. However, they are letting us go for a ride. Maya's gonna take us for a ride on the new Amish stagecoach. This is so exciting. Oh, wait. I guess we're not gonna ride inside. We're gonna ride up top. Let me look at the inside really quick, though. Look at this. That is plush. What is this, George Hurst's stagecoach? Okay, that's a little bit of a deep cut, unless you know your gold rush history. Okay.
Come on, like a real shotgun
Pull yourself
rider.
up like a crazy man? I think I can do that. Okay, those are some big, how tall are those horses?
He is 19 hands tall, which equivalates to, well, he's well over my head.
Yeah, he looks taller than me.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
So we are way up there then. We're looking down. I've never sat shotgun before. I feel like Chewbacca. Oh, look at this. And there literally is a shotgun. Are you going to shoot the robbers?
I guess so.
Okay, yes. Finally, revenge for making me sing. Revenge.
In the movies, they get whips out and beat the horses.
Right, right.
Just slap them. Watch these guys. Let's go, team.
That's it? You just have to ask nicely? Aw.
For a horse this size, you don't want them afraid of you.
Yeah. Someone should have told John Wayne.
Yes.
Okay, so Colby is the one on the left.
Colby's the one on the
He's
left.
huge. That is a big horse.
He's a big horse.
And then what's the one on the right again?
That one is Chance.
Chance. I noticed
one I
something.
conquered.
There's no seatbelts up here.
Seatbelts haven't been invented yet.
So what happens if the horses decide to suddenly
I
stop?
do the mom thing.
Okay, okay. What happens if you fly off? Then we fly off
Well,
together?
yeah.
At least I have the mom arm to keep me safe?
Well, you gotta pray.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just asking about these buildings over here. And you said, when do they do this? They do this big reenactment?
Third weekend in May, yep. It's called the Diggins, and they have about 150 docents that reenact what life was like when Columbia was first found, when the gold camp part was first found.
Third weekend in May.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody come down. Third weekend in May for the Diggins. I'll be on Route 66, but I'll be jealous of everyone who takes fun pics. This is my favorite part of Columbia, all the rocks.
Yep. So where we're at now was about 20 feet higher, the elevation was. We're actually traveling kind of in an underground area. The mining that they did here actually lowered the elevation.
Really?
So these rocks were all underground. People think they were mined out, but they didn't. They used the water pressure to wash all the dirt away from the rocks. and that's how the rocks became exposed.
Really?
Uh-huh.
So they were doing hydraulic mining right here?
Correct.
That's
Correct.
amazing. She's
And-
from Yuba City, so they blasted
you
out their
know-
whole river,
you know
yeah.
Exactly all that. Okay. That's all from the water pressure. It's just scarring from the water
So
pressure.
all these lines on there
Uh-huh.
are from water cannons
Yep.
blasting away all the dirt just to get the gold.
That's right.
And now we have this weird, I always wondered why the landscape here was so weird and alien looking. Because it's all blasted out. That's so cool. Yes.
Hi, baby.
Is this where we start to go fast?
Okay, let's
Hello. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Come on, boy.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, Hallie. Hold on for dear life. Chance and Colby are crazy. Oh my gosh. That's just like a little, that's not even a gallop, right?
It's in between a lope and a canter. It's a little bit. It's
In
a
between
light
a lope.
gap. It's like a gallop, but it's not like
In
a
between a
run.
lope and a canter.
Yeah, there's something like that.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine going like full speed, then with the coach and everybody rattling around.
When you got robbed, the driver usually stops because going faster is almost a death sentence.
Yeah. Speaking of getting robbed, this looks a little isolated out
It is.
here.
It looks kind of creepy.
This
right?
looks a little sketch.
Spooky area. Sometimes there's people lurking out in the bushes.
Oh no,
Whoa, team.
a man.
What seems to be the problem here, sir?
Here to hold up your coach. You any of you guys got any gold or silver or strong box?
I have no gold but her.
Oh, that's sweet.
Don't
But she don't got gold on her or anything though?
No, no gold.
No one back here, just you two?
Yeah, it's just us. No one's in there. No strong box either. Sorry about that.
You're good. Well, I'll give you this. If you give me one good joke, it has to be a good
Oh no.
I'll let you guys go.
One good joke? Okay, I got one. Why is Peter Pan so good at flying?
Oh, I've never heard this one.
Because he never lands.
Okay, that's not
That's the
bad.
best I got.
Give me another one.
Another good joke? My SAT scores.
Okay, that's a bit better. I'll take that one.
Okay, we're not gonna die today.
Anything back there. Are you guys here on like a vacation or something?
Yeah, sorta.
Yeah.
It's her birthday.
Oh, okay. Well, it's your birthday. I don't shoot people on their birthdays. Then that's messed up.
Okay,
No, I
great.
know
Well,
that.
okay, driver. Since it's her birthday, you can take them away. I
Should we
think
sing for her? We should sing for
Yes.
her.
That's great.
Oh, you're gonna sing for her?
Yes. Are we ready?
Yes, we're
Am I
ready.
singing too?
Yes.
Yeah, the singing outlaw.
All right, fine.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Shotgun rider.
Allie. Happy birthday to you. You sing like an angel, sir.
Well, thank you.
She forgot she has.
He's the original masked singer.
There. That's she
Oh, you're the shotgun. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I forgot we weren't
in
defenseless.
the birthday song.
We're the worst. We are the worst protectors of the coach ever.
team,
Did
and
you
we're
forget you
sober.
had that?
Can you believe it?
It was
Let's
so-
go, team.
I have a feeling this was a setup. It was staged. Okay, that's funny. It was staged. That's a better joke than the one that got us out of trouble. Oh.
All the boys got to show off again.
Yes.
Oh, there goes Chance. Oh, Colby's gonna show off too.
Oh my gosh. Look at the size of those rumps. Oh my gosh.
There's a stride on that horse.
Yeah, look at that. So where'd they get the water from then to blast all the dirt
So
away?
the miners all got together and dealt.
They used child labor?
But they dug a series of ditches to bring the water down from the upper reservoirs. And are you ready for this crazy part? This
Yes.
is how Columbia still gets its water, is by open ditch system. It comes down to us from the ditch, and then it goes to the treatment plant. It gets filtered and cleaned, and then shot back to us.
But it goes to the treatment plant by ditches.
Yes, absolutely.
Dug by the miners? That's amazing. That fire hydrant's full of ditch water. I learned. This is why you got to ride the Stagecoach in Columbia, because you learn something new every time. I don't remember that being part of the spiel last time. We get our water from the ditch.
We do.
That's so cool.
Good old American ingenuity.
It's probably better than the pipe water though.
This was a miner's cabin. This one was actually used in one of the episodes of Little House on the Prairie. It was the Sweet 16 episode, and they pull up right out front here, and there's a little buggy and such.
I didn't know they filmed it here. I knew they did a cast reunion last year up here, but I
That's
didn't
why
realize.
they were here.
That's
because
so cool.
They did. I think they filmed 3 or 4 episodes here.
I've seen the stage office in Tales of Wells Fargo or Tales from Wells Fargo, whatever it's called. But I can never find the episode again, so every time I come here, I want to show the clip, and I cannot find it. It drives me insane. Hello!
These are more of our local Sasquatches that we dress in people clothes. We teach them to talk, too. We just don't want to get overrun by squatchers.
Beware, Sasquatch people, we have a shotgun. I just didn't want any more incidents. You know, we had enough.
Exactly. This is the Martinez house. This house was used for immigrants mainly. Whoa, team. Whoa, whoa, boys.
Come on, fellas, calm down.
Rent out smaller rooms and areas for the miners to come and stay.
Ah.
And it's always a debate in our town whether this is a 2-story or not, because there's no access to that area, but it does appear to be big enough to have a whole floor in.
Yeah, it's huge.
But this house is being kept in a state of preservation, so they're keeping it from deteriorating anymore because there are 5 types of wallpaper in there that don't exist anywhere else that they can find. So they want to keep it historic.
So it's like arrested decay a little bit. I have a weird question. This is kind of random, but can stagecoaches back up?
Oh.
Like, can they actually back up?
Back team. Back team.
They're doing it.
Back team. Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up.
I have never seen that before.
Let's go, team.
Okay, that is cool.
And they went uphill.
Thank you for doing that, 'cause I don't think everybody gets to see that. I've never seen that before.
You have to have the harness correct to do it. So you need that strap that goes under their butt. So if
The traditional butt strap.
Yeah, it's called a britchin.
Okay.
And if you don't have that, they can't back up.
That is so cool. I've never seen that before. Hello down there. Definitely ride the stagecoach. That was awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they showed this building in Tales of Wells Fargo at the very beginning of
they
it.
did a lot of filming. Dale Robertson was here quite a bit.
Yes.
And then he actually got bucked off of his horse here.
Really?
And had to spend some time at our local hospital.
Oh, I love Dale Robertson. I love that show. Jim Hardy.
Yep.
It was pretty easy to get up. How do I get down? Can I just jump?
Go on the horse.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm so scared. That's what I was worried about, is stepping on a horse and then them going crazy. Okay, so probably 1 foot here, 1 foot here, and then jump for my life. Yay! That's farther than it looks. I don't recommend that. Okay, Allie's gonna go down the safe and sane way. Thank you so much for letting us do that. That was so cool.
We appreciate you guys.
You all right, Allie?
Got it.
Here she goes. She made it. Thank you so much. Thanks, fellas. Thanks, guys. They're friendly, way friendlier than the ones in Gettysburg. They bit me. They're so large, but they're so gentle and sweet, and they backed up for me. Thank you so much. That was the coolest thing ever. Yeah, come down here, the Columbia stage line. Get yourself some tickets in the old Wells Fargo Express office. Ride the stagecoach. Just make sure you have jokes ready, because I was not prepared for that. That was really bad. I think I stole that Neverland joke from Chris Provost. I'm pretty sure. That was so cool. Normally it's $17 a person, which is, by the way, totally worth it. Yeah. She would not let us pay. She insisted that we come up there. They liked the last visit we made here to Columbia. So super special thank you to Maya and all the other horse handlers. I love that. You can buy your tickets in here. You can buy some fine leather goods, and then look at this. They got an example of a traveling case from a gold rush merchant. He's got his fancy silk tie in there. He's got his scales, some Edgeworth tobacco, and a weird pipe. You know, you gotta have a weird pipe if you're heading out to the Old West. If you ain't smoking, something wrong with you. I love this. Look at that. You got all the stage drivers can play their chess and checkers back there. You got some of the freight over here, passenger stuff, and then there's the old safe. Unfortunately, it's not safe at all. Look at that. They left it wide open. Huh? See what I did there? Left wide open, not safe. It's the best I got. I don't have very good jokes. Look at this. You can buy a nutsack. Ooh, I like this. There's another example traveling case for a miner. A miner's trunk. He's got a little letter he's writing to his sweetheart. We don't want to snoop too hard and read that. Got his pickaxe there, and some kind of old picture on the back of that thing. His old tin coffee pot. Maya, you were very nice to us. Thank you so much for our ride. And then look at this. Allie got some puffy pop over here. Saigon cinnamon, French toast. Okay, Maya's giving us some secret history right here because they were so successful with the Stagecoach office, they had to expand. That's why they're connected. So that's the expansion there.
Yeah.
It was like their warehouses and stuff like that. And then you said like the drivers and everybody lived here?
Yeah, they lived upstairs. Their bedrooms were upstairs.
Okay.
And that was very common for Gold Rush area to build and live above your business. And then they built a secret passageway from the Wells Fargo building through the warehouse and over to the bank. So if you go look in the crack, you can see the secret room still.
Really? Okay, that is freaking awesome. There's secrets, Allie. Secrets. Okay, I'm gonna look in the crack. She said you have to be down at like 4th grader level. Oh, it's kind of hard to see in here. There totally is like a secret passage in there. It's almost, I mean, it's really easy to see with the naked eye if you stick your eye into the crack, but it is almost impossible, even on a phone, to see in there. There's like a big gap between these buildings right here. It's like that Harry Potter platform thing, you know, between the bricks. I don't know what I'm talking about. Allie got it. She's got a shot of the secret passage there between the cracks. Is that how they broke into the bank?
No, it's so they can get the gold over to the bank.
Oh!
Without coming around and getting robbed.
So you could transfer the rich stuff without anybody demanding jokes from you. This is just so cool. I think it's the coolest thing. The old Stagecoach drivers just taking the Stagecoach out into the middle of nowhere. And normally the rides wouldn't be that short, right? They'd be going overland miles and miles and miles. And there were in fact bank robbers or hold-up men out there just popping out with guns, throw up your hands. All that stuff really happened, and it really did happen here in Gold Rush country. Matter of fact, Black Bart himself was operating in this area. By the way, they have this wall here because back there's like the kitchens and the parlors and all the stuff for the people who were living here. Then upstairs was their bedrooms, like Maya was saying. Hey, look at this. This one's not safe either. This is so cool. Look at the scales too. Weighing the gold. And I love the big metal shutters, not just to protect the rich stuff. Those were also about fireproofing buildings, right? So if fires came ravaging through towns, you wouldn't just close up the doors, you'd close the big metal shutters and hopefully protect the buildings from burning down. So there were a lot of conflagrations in towns like this, especially when they first started. They were all built out of wood. In fact, the original office that was built here in 1852 burned down. This one wasn't built until 1858. Joey has just brought me, what is this?
Salt.
A giant
like
chunk of salt?
It's the Gatorade for horses.
Gatorade for horses, okay.
Oh! Gotta hold it like this.
Yeah.
It will get you.
Okay. I'm making friends, look at this. I didn't know it was so easy. If only I had known about this in high school, I wouldn't have been so lonely. Look at that. Oh no, someone's jealous. Oh yeah, look, he's foaming, he's drooling. He loves that salt. That's amazing. Just they have to do so they don't get dehydrated, right? They need like a lot of salt. Look at the size of that chunk of salt. Okay, I didn't think we would be doing this for your birthday, but I'm enjoying it.
It's better than feeding a giraffe, right?
This is so awesome. Dude, Colby's so happy. He's the happiest. He looks so stoked. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Behind the scenes with the Columbia stage line. Okay, that was awesome. I was not expecting that today. I mean, I was hoping to get a Stagecoach ride. I didn't know that they were going to remember us and take us for like the coolest ride ever and reveal some of the secrets of Columbia. At least we checked one thing off our list. Alas, the other thing we were hoping to do was come and make a candle. We haven't done it since London was really little, my son. We brought him up here and Allie and him made a candle up here, and Allie's been wanting to come back and make another candle ever since. We keep coming during the off season when there is nary a candle to be dipped. We got to come back on one of those more heavily trafficked days. This is like the perfect day though for me. Look at this, just cruising in here. Nobody is around. You got the museum for the native sons of the Golden West over there, not a soul in it. The candy kitchen completely empty over here. The Douglas Saloon over yonder's only got 1 or 2 people. I can hear the bowling alley going off. So there's a few people in town. The old-timey photo studio's closed up. Yeah, very, very quiet here, but I kind of like that, you know, got the run of the place. Up here comes Maya and the fellas again. It's like the Jungle Cruise. They just keep going around and around and around. The Gold Rush Jungle Cruise. It's the wildest ride in the wilderness. Hi. Oh. That is so cool. Awesome. I mean, where else can you do that? Sure, you can do it at Knott's Berry Farm, but you're sort of walled in there. You can't do it at Disneyland anymore. They haven't done that since, what, the 1950s? No, sir, down in Southern California, not too many places where you can get a Stagecoach ride like that. Man, I didn't know that it was totally the move, Stagecoach-wise, to come here in April, March or April. Things are much more relaxed. Also probably doesn't hurt that it's a Tuesday out here. Everything is nice and quiet. The weather is good. The girls are cute. A perfect day in Gold Country. All right, there's the Columbia Museum right there on that corner. The bowling alley just beyond. Look at that. How idyllic, how scenic is that view? And it's like that everywhere. Everywhere you turn your head. It's just another amazing shot. It's like right out of a movie. And also, look at this. Finally, some honest goods. And look at this. Look back here. Not only do they have the firehouse, which is closed at the moment with the big old bell up here, they got the drugstore and the dentist's office. I broke a tooth in January. I have been looking for a dentist ever since in Orange County. I can't really handle dentists. I can't handle drilling while I'm wide awake. And the dentist that I was going to would not prescribe me anything from the drugstore so that I could be calm enough to get, I didn't know I should be heading up here to Gold Country. One of those situations actually where I better not fool around unless I press that button over here first and know what the story is. I don't want to start being silly about dentists and then find out that one of them burned to death in here too. I was kind of stoked on finding a dentist out here at first, and now that I see his tools, all I can think of is 1989 Batman. You see what we have to work with. The nerves were completely severed. Maybe I'll wait to find a dentist in Orange County. Dude, speaking of the drugstore, would you look at the size of this place? The selection's so huge. This would impress Pablo Escobar. Lots of different tonics in here. All I'm thinking of is how we look at all this stuff now and we're like, this is a bunch of hokey old witchcraft. And then 150 years from this moment, probably someone will look at a picture of an old CVS and be like, what in the world were they taking? They've got everything in here. Talcum powder, tons of weird snake oils, enough phosphate to make your bones glow, and weirdly, a lot of laxatives. Seriously, every couple of bottles after the hair tonic and the cough drops and the liniments, laxatives. What was up with the Old West? Why was everyone so constipated? Must be the opium. Look at all this crazy stuff. They even got some genuine buhak insect powder down there. I don't think that's meant for human consumption. Bunch of medicine for your babies. Breast tea? What in the world is breast tea? Oh, Dr. Hiller's teething cure. I could use some of that. Then down here, the horse and his diseases. A manual. Yeah, so you could get medicine for your children, your wife, and even your horse wife. What brings you to the drugstore today? I'm feeling a little hoarse. Dang it, where were these jokes when there were bandits, when my life was on the line? Anyway, as you can see, and as we saw last time, this place is full of free museums and displays. There's also a really nice restaurant here. I believe you might even be able to stay at the City Hotel in town, nice and restored. But there's a whole bunch of shops. And if you heard that loud noise behind me, believe it or not, even a bowling alley. And look at this, it's a bowling alley. No. That did not work. All right, my turn. See, that's your problem right there. There ain't no holes in your ball. We'll see. Ooh, strike. Don't look that way. It was a strike. Almost. Now the ball is just rolled in front of my feet, just taunting me. That last pin will be mocking me in my dreams for years to come. Anyway, I could stick around here all day. We gotta start kind of moving things along because Allie wants to see her grandma. She wants to get to her weird town and go to all her weird favorite spots, go see the abandoned Kmart again. Seriously, I filmed it last time we were in Yuba City. I filmed the abandoned Kmart and there were so many comments like, yeah, heck yeah. One guy left a comment on my Instagram post like, dude, I do donuts in that parking lot. It's just I guess you have to go there. It's just a thing. So anyway, we're gonna pop into a few more stores and then we're gonna hit the dusty trail in our own supply wagon on out of here. Columbia's all played out. We gotta head up to new diggings up the Feather River in Yuba City, California. Just real quick though, while Allie's in the grocery store. What's up with this? Hello, ladies. Look at all these chickens back here. Look at all these hens. Hi, gals. What's going on? Now I miss my chickens at home. I love this. The doorway into the hen house is hen-shaped. like one of them was running really fast and ran straight into the wall. Roger Rabbit style. I'm not sure why the hen house is a peek-in, but for some reason, look at, you can even peek into where they lay their eggs, I guess, theoretically. This is one of them there displays for the city kids. This is how your eggs are come from, boy. Yeah, see, I always noticed the unusual rocks here in Colombia. I never knew that they actually blasted them out, hydraulically blasted down there. High pressure water hoses back in the 1880s blasted away the earth and blasted away the rock. I knew they did that stuff around here. I just didn't know they did it in Colombia itself. I thought we were just seeing pick and shovel work, but that was the first wave of miners. They got pretty technologically sophisticated, pretty dang fast. Anyway, I'm gonna go collect my wife and then we'll be moving on. It's cool because, like I say, most of Colombia is a state historic park, but there are people who live here, and so the old market actually does have really good stuff inside, including a lot of gluten-free products, which is good for me. And I just keep thinking, if I moved here, hey ho, Cotton Eye Joe, I could be strumming on this old banjo. I'm actually hoping next time I come up here, we can arrange a very special tour, which is the reason I'm keeping it light in Colombia today. But anyways, back to the car and back to the road. We're gonna make one more stop really quick and then jet up to Yuba City. All right, like I said, one more stop. This stop is just up the road. It's historic Angels Camp, established in 1848, home of the celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County, an old tale as old as the hills, repeated and creatively transcribed famously in Angels Camp by Mark Twain. And if you want to get very, very technical about it, not only was that story, his version of the story, kind of the first national piece of fame that he got. The story was considered very funny in the 19th century. It's very difficult for 21st century people to read it and see the humor, but it was considered very hilarious back then in the 1860s. So not only was that a big hit in the newspapers, but it then became the title of a book of sort of a collection of his sketches. So a compilation, not really his first written start to finish book, but technically, okay, Mark Twain's first book. Now, the only reason I'm stopping here in Angels Camp, which is just down that road yonder for a few minutes, is that I've been here before. My family actually used to camp up here when I was a kid. Obviously, I'm a huge Mark Twain fan, but I've always wanted to spend a lot of time in Angels Camp, telling the whole story, going through all the kind of Mark Twain connections. So far, I have just never really had the time to do it justice or to do it the way I'd like to do it. And as a result, somehow I've never filmed out here in the last 12, 13 years that I've been doing this. And of course, everybody that knows me knows I am a massive Mark Twain fan. I'm something of a Twainiac. And so people keep constantly suggesting to me, have you ever heard of Angels Camp? They have jumping frog contests here every year. Yes, I have heard of it. I have been here. I've just been waiting for the right time to go full Twain out here. Check this out right here. We are standing in front of the old historic Angels Hotel. This building right here is the very same one in which, according to local lore, Mark Twain heard the jumping frog story repeated down here on some rainy days stuck in Angels Camp when he was hiding out in gold country with his friends, the Gillis brothers, up on Jackass Hill in a little wooden cabin, a replica of which still stands. We actually filmed it last year. And while Mark Twain, whose real name was Sam Clemens, was stuck down here in gold country, hiding from the law, but that's a story for another time. As I mentioned, they had a whole bunch of bad weather that prevented them from doing any pocket mining, which is what they were doing, blowing up rocks, looking for gold or digging around for any excess gold. So they'd come down here to Angels Camp to go to the saloons, go to the hotels. Mark Twain resupplied the cigars. Like I say, ended up hearing the famous jumping frog story retold by a guy who did it in a dead level monotone with absolutely no humor to it at all, which Mark Twain found hilarious, and then turned it into a story that would be read and heard around the world. So as I mentioned, they do have jumping frog races every year out here, and as you can see, there's a little walk of fame with a whole bunch of plaques to famous jumping frogs here on the ground. And as you can see, much like Sonora, Angels Camp, although much smaller, is just as well preserved. A lot of old gold rush era buildings, a lot of very interesting history, which I really want to get into sometime. That's why I want to spend a whole bunch of time here. But mostly it is known for the frogs and the frog lore. So not only do you have the Angels Hotel over there where Mark Twain first heard the story, supposedly first heard it, although I can't help but mention that that story was already kind of a popular yarn in the old South, the American South, and the mural on the side of the building over there that we just saw. But just across the street here, you've got a historical plaque, and up on top a bronze statue, a representation of the famous jumping frog himself, Jim Smiley's jumping frog. I love that little medal right there. To the Southern Mines, this is what it says. It says, Angels Camp, home of the jumping frog, romance, gold, and history. Founded in 1849 by George Angel, who established a mining camp and trading store 200 feet below this marker, a rich gravel mining area and one of the richest quartz mining sections of the Mother Lode. The locale of Mark Twain's famous story, The Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. Frequented by Joaquin Murrieta, Black Bart, and other early day bandits. You know why I like this place? Anything to do with Mark Twain, and I am there. And although the jumping frog is not particularly my favorite piece of Mark Twain's literature, it's definitely not something I hate or abhor, so I am stoked whenever I come here and just see all kinds of different representations of jumping frogs all throughout the town, whether they're carved frogs, bronze frogs, painted frogs, antique frogs, human frog hybrids, whatever you got in the frog department. I'll take it. Angels Camp today in 2026 is kind of interesting, right? Like all of Gold Country, most of the California hills and mountains and forests were heavily infested by the hippies in the 1960s. That used to manifest itself when I was a kid as like weird old guys with beards selling tie-dye t-shirts on the side of the roads. Well, their kids have all established things like this, Stories in Stone. A lot of rock shops and crystal shops. It's very Sedona-esque up here sometimes. A little occult mysticism now up in Gold Rush country. It's also very, very, very busy here. Now, when Mark Twain was here in the 1860s, things were very, very quiet, right? It had been at least 10, 15 years past the heyday of the early gold rush, 20 years really since the 49ers, or just about that. And this place had basically seen better days, right? He complained about the pool tables being all crooked and the pool cues being no good. But nowadays, California Highway 49, which is so named because it travels around the Gold Rush area, right in and about the Gold Rush area, where the 49ers once roamed, cuts right through the center of the old main street. And there's a heck of a lot of traffic going on here. So at certain times of the year, it's actually kind of hard to pull over in downtown Angels Camp, but it is always worth a stop for the buildings. Just be prepared for the sound of lots of trucks and motorcycles, and you'll be a-okay. This place is very important to Gold Rush history. A lot of history here, like I was saying. A lot of old historic buildings, and quite a lot of post-Mark Twain jumping frog history as well. They filmed a movie called The Adventures of Mark Twain way, way back in the day. It was actually premiered here. There's a whole bunch of other facts I'd love to tell you, but that would be spoiling it, right, for the future. Now, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, and if I don't meet my demise, I will definitely be returning to this area at some point and doing a very in-depth series of videos, probably. Maybe one just about the history of Angels Camp, and then one just about the Mark Twain stuff. But just because literally so many people over the past 12 years or so, whenever I mention Mark Twain, are like, have you been to Angels Camp? I just figured since we were passing through and I knew I was gonna walk around anyways, I might as well confirm that yes, indeed, I have been up here. And if you're ever in the area, I highly recommend stopping by too. A lot of cafes and weird stores to get crystals in. There's even a barber shop right here. And look who is looking rather dapper right here on the window. Look at that fella right there. There's the jumping frog. Yeah. And again, everywhere you look in this town, in every window, around every corner, you will encounter frog after frog after frog after frog. Always makes me wonder if the local residents are freaking sick of frogs. Anyway, you got to picture all of this being out here. Well, not quite all of this, right? A lot of other wooden buildings that were later replaced by more sturdy buildings in sort of a second wave of the gold rush later on. But much of this being out here, or similar wooden buildings, being abandoned and kind of forlorn and kind of low down on a rainy, grisly day. And then Mark Twain shooting pool down over here at the Angels Hotel with his buddies who were all down on their luck, all flat broke, listening to some old scoundrel spinning a yarn about jumping frogs, jotting it down in his notebook, and then later on, when asked to submit a humorous sketch for something, spinning it in to a now world-famous story and really beginning his career, as it were, long before Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer. There was the jumping frog. It's just so cool. By the way, as I was walking by the front of the Angels Hotel, we're looking at the side at the moment. I don't know if you spotted this, but look at this, coming soon, the Mark Twain Experience, an Angels Camp museum that's going to be located right on the very spot, presumably, that Mark Twain heard the story, told in its far western way, and leading eventually to his world fame. So look at that, the original hotel was built in 1851, replaced by a one-story wooden structure, and then one of stone in 1855, second story added 1857. It's just a few years later in the 1860s that Mark Twain was here. If you're not familiar with the works of Mark Twain, maybe you've only ever read Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn in your time, I highly recommend The Innocents Abroad or Roughing It if you're interested in Western stuff. And it's in Roughing It, by the way, that it sort of alludes to his time up here on Jackass Hill and near Angels Camp. If you want to see Mark Twain's cabin or the reconstructed Mark Twain's cabin on the original site, look at this Mark Twain right freaking there. Go back to that video from last year because Allie and I, we have got to burn some rubber. We gotta make like the jumping frog and hop out of here. Ooh, things got real flat real quick. And look at that, off in the distance, the buttes. That's how you know you're getting close to Yuba City, Allie's origin point. Someday they're gonna have a sign here. Birthplace of Allie Warren. Well, and we made it. We made it back to Yuba City. As you can see, if you look carefully, the moon is up in the sky. The light is getting low out here. The sun is sinking down in the west. Allie excused herself to go and do some makeup and change clothes up in the hotel, and I just came down a block or two to check out the scene downtown in Old Plumas Street, and also to try to wrap my head around the fact that I'm gonna be in Yuba City for the next couple of days. The birthday girl wants to come and see Grandma and Grandpa and all the fam. I think it's the first time we've been back here too since we've been officially married. So now I guess I have to say we're visiting the in-laws. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, we went kind of overboard today because I was not expecting the VIP tour of Colombia up on the Stagecoach. I guess I get a little carried away whenever I go to Sonora, Queen of the Southern Mines, or Colombia, the gem of the Southern Mines. I hope I'm getting those two correct and not mixed up. So this particular adventure has gone on long enough. That's all I got for you. If you enjoy these adventures, if you're getting any value out of these videos and you would like to help out, the links are right down below in the description. You can get hats, books, hot sauce, join our Patreon, all kinds of stuff. But mostly I'd like to thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching. You've done your duty. And like me, you can hotel and sleep well. After frog? That one looks more like a lizard. Huh. Saloon? Salon. Saloon? Salon. Saloon? Salon. I'll go to the saloon. You go to the salon. Or wait, reverse that. I could use a new cut.